State in the white kits with gray on the fronts of it, in the stripes with Buckeyes on the front, numbers on the back. And for the Musketeers, their blue navy kits, white numbers on the back and Musketeers on the front. First 45 here, partner. This is going to be a big one for both sides. And we talked to both head coaches, whether it's Masonoff or Higgins. That first 20 minutes, you're going to want to be as aggressive as possible.
Absolutely, and when both teams are going to look to be very aggressive, it's pretty much, how are you going to be able to control the game really when both teams are kind of approaching the game the same, wanting to play aggressive and attack. It's going to be very interesting to see how they do that here tonight through these first 20 minutes.
That's Patrick McLaughlin in the black kit on the left side for the Buckeyes in goal. Really keeping it in the middle. Nathan Trickett, one of the men who played last year out of Independence, Ohio, keeping it towards the top touch line. And I'll call a little blow whistle on it. And when you look at a player like Trickett, who had grown up in Independence, he's had 3 siblings who have played in NCAA athletics, and he's now played against the Buckeyes 2 straight years. What's an expectation for a guy who's had that type of experience?
Well, I think the expectation here certainly is he's going to play a huge part in this game and look to be leaned on a lot by this team. And obviously you have a guy who's got a lot of experience playing high-level soccer, got a lot of relatives who have that same kind of experience as well. I think that's a big luxury to have for any team, especially going on the road against the top 25 opponents. So that's going to be huge, and definitely we'll see if it can make a big impact tonight.
Ohio State 3-0-1. The Musketeers 2-1-2. One of their big wins came against number 2 Marshall back on the 29th of August, a 2-0 win at home. This is their first one on the road going against the Buckeyes, and it's Michael Adedikin coming towards the top, but good defense on the cross ball from Kropp. First corner of the day for the Buckeyes. It looks like Marco Borkovic out of Maidenhead, England's going to take it. Possession at this point for Borkovic, trying to lean it in, see what the Buckeyes really run here. Overloading inside the 6. Johnny Mennel, the goalkeeper for the Musketeers. Nice hit in ahead, but a good clear out. Right up the middle, a shot from in. And good cleared by Eli Dooley. It seemed the defense was playing very traditional. We talked to there was a 4-4-2 for Ohio State. Xavier not running that 4-4-2 setup.
Yeah, they're running a 4-3-3 setup. In fact, here you got 4 midfielders out there along with 3 defenders and 3 forwards. So a little bit of a different lineup for the Musketeers. But again, the same kind of approach here, looking to attack and be aggressive. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of different lineup has any sort of impact here.
Velio's hitting it up forward. Trying to stay towards Ohio State. One of their big factors was staying in their attacking side of the ball, especially in this first 20 minutes. In the first 8, it's been played more in this middle area, which no real surprise here. But you could tell the defense is a little bit aggressive at this point for the Musketeers.
Yeah, they're really trying to get Ohio State out of their comfort zone here early on, kind of set the tone defensively, make a big statement here on the road.
A big clear out, but Buckeyes going to keep it on their side, try to go through. And right back up to Paul Bogarine and Matthew Sinanu. And they'll just reset it with Mennel. And see that yellow kit. I don't know how you feel about it personally. I know there's the difference in the, of course, both sides, and then their goalkeepers have different kits. If you had to choose one, what color would it be and why?
If I was a goalie, oh man, I don't know. I would probably go with, I don't know. I would go with green just because it's my favorite color. But I feel like neon green kind of looks good on a soccer field. But I mean, I don't know. The yellow is an interesting choice, but it kind of works in this situation, I would say. Not really too sure, but if I was a goalie, I'd probably go with green.
More that highlighter green?
More that highlighter green.
That highlighter
sure.
green instead of like the pastel green? I know that one's a tough one.
Yeah, I've always preferred the highlighter green.
I don't mind that, actually. I think it actually works pretty well. We've seen the Ohio State women's soccer team have that. So, you know what? I'll shake your hand on that one. You got it.
There we go.
Up that far touch side. Xavier trying to kick it back in. Still 0-0 through 10. Actually through 5, I should say. Ernest Mensah Jr. out of Naperville, Illinois. He's been in 5 games so far. He's got a goal. It was his first collegiate one against Cal State Fullerton. He started 17 games in 23 and only had an assist to his tally. And now the Buckeyes trying to get through with a Jagby, but good clear from the defense up the middle. Samways with the recovery. And they'll reset back for the Buckeyes. I mean, you could clearly see here, Eric, that Ohio State, they're trying to keep it in the middle. They're trying to keep their strikers and wingers on the ball the best they can. But when you have Siggy Magnuson back there defensively, and then you can have the clear-out power from Patrick McLaughlin, you can't be too negative when it gets to the defensive side of things.
Absolutely not. You have a very reliable defender in Magnuson, as well as McLaughlin, who's played really well so far this season. So I think that's, again, you know, Brian Mazanoff is very fortunate to have those guys in your back line defensively, kind of being that safety valve for the team.
Samways with some fancy footwork inside the 18. Still going to the wings. He'll try the up. And a good cross-ball clear-out for the Musketeers. And we talked about that fancy footwork, whether it was Bilo, Samways, a Dadekin. And speaking of a Dadekin, that was a close one. Dylan Kropp just right in the way with the slide.
Really nice play by Dylan Kropp. But again, a Dadekin right there, very close, had a great opportunity on that ball, just a little bit off to the right. But again, that's the kind of thing we talked about earlier in this game. Both teams being very aggressive on both sides, and we're seeing that here through only 7 minutes nearly of this contest so far.
One of the 2024 Big Ten players to watch for the preseason for Ohio State. Got Siggy Magnuson and Luciano Pacoda along with him. So the expectation where they have the Buckeyes in 6 of 11 teams now with the expanded West Coast and the now Power 4 section, which is still pretty odd to say, with the addition of UCLA and Washington to men's soccer. I mean, the Buckeyes have actually played Washington with it the past couple of years as well. It was a non-conference game last year. But now you have to think, Big Ten against Big Ten, Ohio against Washington. I mean, that's quite a travel for the Huskies.
It is quite a travel. It's a little interesting, especially for someone like me growing up. I was always big on the geographical factor of conferences, but, you know, again, it is a changing landscape in college athletics. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how Ohio State and Washington play against each other. That, again, just still sounds a little interesting to say. You know, an Ohio team traveling to Washington to play a conference game. It's going to take a while to get used to for sure.
Luciano Pacoda doing everything he can to get the ball away from Trickett. He will as it trickles back to McLaughlin. But it is one of those odd factors you think about, whether it's UCLA doing it as a whistle is blown with a player down. It's Fabrizio Bernal de la Garza, the senior forward out of Monterrey, Mexico.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Buckeyes gluing it down defensively inside the 6. The cross in, the header. Nobody gone, a whistle blown. Looks like a foul as the Buckeyes down. Make sure everybody's okay. McLaughlin giving him some water. Got a replay on the corner. What you see here on this one, Eric?
It really took a nice bounce for Xavier right there. Just nobody on that back end was there to take that kick. So Ohio State, a little bit of a fortunate break there, but could have been a very good shot for Xavier on the goal. Instead here now, already 5 combined fouls. Looks like play is stopped here for a moment, but again, I think right there, if Xavier has a guy in that back end, you're looking at an excellent shot opportunity this early in the game.
It was Nathan Demian who had some of the contact. He gets up, rubs himself off, and keeps going. And a long through ball as the Buckeyes trying to move it up with Bilo. And now with Jagby moving up, here's Bilo. A Dadekin. Flipping forward, going up towards that top. Bilo with some tricky footwork getting through the defense. And you see that they're just gluing together so well this midsection through that first 20. Coach Higgins talked about it. We want to play together, play strong. We want to be annoying. We want to be aggressive, and it seems that way so far for Xavier.
We're flustering Ohio State a little bit there in the middle of the pitch, and it's kind of getting Ohio State out of their element.
And Ohio State trying to get back in the middle again. Nice little stop. Who's going to take it? A Karam off the edge of Borkovich. And another shot just wide from Luciano Pacoda.
Great shot there from Pacoda, just off to the left there. But again, that aggressiveness, once again, Xavier's defense is really forcing Ohio State to speed up the tempo, but then Ohio State as well. You see there a lot of guys for Xavier around number 7, Borkovich, and then Pacoda there, just right there, ready to take that shot, playing aggressive. That's exactly what you want to see here if you're head coach Brian Mazanoff.
And Borkovich will have another shot at the second corner of the day for the Buckeyes. Arm up, let's see if he's got enough bend on it. A Jagby up to the top. A Dadekin from far away and into the corner. Oh my! From way downtown, and the Bucks are up 1-0.
What a play by Michael Adedekin out of Nigeria. Just unbelievable right here. Kind of a scrum for it initially, and then Adedekin from way downtown. Just no hesitation, taking the shot. And right there, Ohio State getting the first goal of the game in dramatic fashion. That's got to feel really good if you're Adedekin.
His third goal of 2024. The former Dayton Flyer from 2019 to 22, who was second team All Big Ten in 2023. And are we really surprised to see him getting the first one of the day as a 24 Big Ten player to watch and a member of the 2024 Wolstein Classic All-Tournament team for the number 21 Buckeyes. Now the Buckeyes have to go on their defensive side, keep it up as they are in possession with 31 to go. It's going to be hard to get through for Ishmael Mensah. Another freshman you have to watch out for.
Really, that's where both these teams are so similar. They both have impact freshmen in Mensah and a Jagby. It's going to be interesting to see how they continue to square off here in tonight's matchup. Both freshmen play a little bit differently, but both equally have as big of impacts on their team, really complementing the several amount of veterans that make up both the Musketeers and the Buckeyes.
You can see that mixture of Dooley and Waits in the middle going up against Pacoda. And Borkovich trying to keep themselves through. Here's Dylan Crump, the defenseman. He's made his way into the attacking side for Xavier. It's a lot of contact for Triggett with the left. It's too far wide. It was way too far outside of the 18.
But again, that's going back to head coach John Higgins wanting his team to be aggressive, especially now after Adedekin with an excellent goal to get the scoring started. Nice job there to take that shot and be aggressive, but just went over the net.
The couple of shots on goal we've seen so far from Xavier have gone right to McLaughlin, the goalkeeper for the Buckeyes. So it's not that they haven't been getting those opportunities. It's just that it's been some magnet gloves for the redshirt freshman.
Definitely has been some magnet gloves, some go-go gadget gloves, as you could say as well. Really the go-go gadget arms, those first two saves, reaching out to save the ball. It's got to feel really good. Got to boost his confidence for sure.
I mean, you don't hear the term Swiss Army knife too often when you talk about goalkeepers, but you could see it just whether it's inside the box, outside, going left, right, up, down. I mean, I sound like I'm doing a Nintendo 64 cheat code at this point, depending on just the movements he can do. So here goes Rogalski. And a good slide tackle from Samways to kick it out.
Really nice stop there by Samways again. Xavier just continuing to put their foot on the gas. But Samways there, excellent defense to knock that ball out of bounds and force another Xavier corner kick.
This time it's the near side.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
See, for OSU, the defense just at the top, whether it's the wingers playing involved, they're playing really together. I mean, there's a type of chemistry that even in last year's game, of course, different personnel, just in general things. Of course, we talked about Tanner Wooten, who was there and now no longer, of course, being drafted. But it's just one of those factors where you could see a team and go, okay, is there any comparable things that you see that's different? I see more chemistry in this side for the Buckeyes, and now they're going to try to go for another one. It's a foot race, but it goes right to Mennel. It was a real close from a Dadekin. And McLaughlin, it looked like he was going to get his teammate on the furthest through ball I would have seen all night.
That was a really long through ball there, and a Dadekin really ready to get his second goal. That huge goal there from a Dadekin earlier in this quarter, so far being the difference of the game.
He went outside of the 6. That was a dangerous factor going against a Jagby. Because if a Jagby put on one thing of fancy footwork, he's got open pipes. That went out from Samways to Bilo. He'll quickly give it over to Rogalski. These final 20 here, partner. There's a lot going on. Anything could happen, and you hear the term, at least with a 2-0 lead, 2-0 is the most dangerous spot to be in soccer because you have a team who goes, okay, we're down 2, but you give us 1, we're within 1, and then, of course, if you tie it up, different story. I don't see Xavier the way that they're playing. They don't play like they're down right now. They're still playing like it's a either 0-0 or 1-1 game. And then it would have gone forward, but they're going to call the yellow. Let's see who it goes on. I'm giving it to Marko Borkovic from the looks of it. Interested to see what they called it on exactly. Was as the ball was traveling in the air, Borkovic trying to have a conversation with the head referee. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense to me. They're giving it on Sinanu. And it was on Marko Borkovic. That's why he was asking if he was okay. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I was going to say, how do you get the yellow and still have the ball in your possession? They try to clear it up, go with the header. That one's close, but not too close. They did give it to Sinanu, the former Tar Heel out of North Carolina. I knew something wasn't clicking right in my head. I went, how do you get a yellow and you still keep the ball in your possession of it? And then you realize, oh, it's on the guy who was marking it. Okay.
I was going to say it's a little bit interesting there, and I think Borkovic was a little bit confused. That's why he was talking to the officials there. But, again, right there, again, able to clear things out. And now Xavier working that middle, now working to that side, the near sideline here.
You see Parker Grinstead and Tommaso Villa waiting to get in. A couple of substitutions as well. You see also Nick Skubis coming in, the freshman midfielder out of Tampa, Florida. Two of the 3 from Ohio, Grinstead out of Westchester, Vila out of Twinsburg, and then, of course, Skubis out of Tampa, which we just talked about. But this in-state program for Coach Masonoff, he's fine going overseas and finding the international players, fine, of course, now going coast to coast, but every time you can find some homegrown talent, it definitely feels a little bit better.
Definitely feels a little bit more authentic as well. A nice move right there by a Dadekin.
I mean, he's doing a bunch of them as well, and that uptick from Skubis gets it over to the corner for Samways. A good kick away from Rogalski, the cross over the middle, and a header out of the way to settle it down for Xavier. But now right back to the wing, and that Big Ten logo. The chip shot forward. All you can do is kick it out of the way if you're Matthew Sinanu.
Smart play there by Sinanu. Just kick it out of the way, force the throw in, and set your defense right back up.
See Ohio State that they're playing through each other at this point. Whistle blown, of course, against that contact from Rogalski. Skubis out of Berkeley Prep High School. He's played in 3 games. Now this is his 4th. He's got a goal on the season. It was the game winner against UNLV in a 3-2 victory. The last time the Buckeyes played, which was a week ago.
And we talked about it earlier in the game, Austin, that's a huge factor in this game. Ohio State had a week off. Played last Sunday here at home against UNLV. Xavier, meanwhile, playing a midweek game on the 5th at home against Bradley in a 2-2 tie. So it's a big factor. How does that play into this game, seeing as Ohio State had a lot more time off?
Good cross in from the front. punted away with a lot of force, but it looks like Ohio State, they're going to play through that defense, but it's hard to stop Nathan Trickett. He's going 1-on-3, moving it forward for Guilherme Vivalgini. He'll stay with Xavier. But yeah, you talk about that time off. I mean, that does a lot for you. But then you ask Higgins about it, what he feels for his side, and he goes, honestly, as much as, the midweek happens, from this point forward, everyone is going to be on the same timetable as us. There's not going to be a team with a week off, and then they have, a Thursday, Sunday like you normally see. Everyone is going to be on that short day's rest, on the travel, and it feels better for them that if they can get ahead in a game like this where you are at a disadvantage on the longevity aspect, if you want to put it that way. But if you can attack this one, beat a top 25 team while on tired legs, I mean, that has to feel real good for a program.
Really does. Not only that, it would be their second top 25 win of the season, so it would do so much for their confidence as well and really level the playing field as well. Again, that's a huge part of it here. So, again, at this point now in the season, Xavier, Ohio State, the rest of these teams are going to be kind of playing on that same schedule. It's going to make things very interesting for the rest of the season.
Jack Bilyeu had the first attempt up towards the corner. This time it's Mensah. It looked like he pushed him down right at the top. So a lot of tough contact here, that far touchline. The flanks have been active so far in this one.
They really have a lot of action going on down there, a lot of physicality over on those flanks. I've seen a lot of fouls here from both of these teams, and with how it's been going, I don't really see it slowing down anytime soon.
Nathan Demian was the man with the contact. Push down, they try to keep it in. A great header from the Buckeye defense. And you're just trying to do everything you possibly can at this point. Even if you have to get McLaughlin involved in this one, the way that he's been playing, I mean, we said it, vacuum gloves. So when he's ready, he's there. If he has to play outside, if he's got to play in to help get the ball cleared, if he's just got to be a piece that helps you get through your contact and really communicate with each other, he's done everything you possibly could want from a freshman goalkeeper.
Really has, and he's young. He's only going to get better with more playing time and more reps. And again, those vacuum gloves, I mean, we saw one of those plays, he went way up to save a ball and show off some athleticism and some versatility, and that's absolutely what you want in a freshman goalie.
And it goes right back to him after Trickett is trying to play some 1-on-7, it seems to be. Just the way this one's going forward, the Buckeyes trying to move forward with their side. It's Skubis up the middle. The shot is just off the mark. It's a great save from Mennel. That was so close. Oh, my goodness. Parker Grinstead. He almost got it. You could see on his face. He wanted that one back. Let's see if the Buckeyes will get another as it goes left of the pipes.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Right towards the arc of the 18, overloaded with as many white jerseys as they possibly can. It's a big through ball, a bit too far off the mark for Ishmael Mensah. And go outside, and the Buckeyes will have it back in their side under 5.
Big stop there for Ohio State. That was one of the best opportunities to score if you're Xavier off that free kick. And trying to get anything going here, just 4 shots so far, only 2 have been on goal. Xavier just hasn't been able to match Ohio State in the shots department so far. That right there would have been a great opportunity.
And now they're going to keep on doing it. It seems that they have with Waits. Let's see if he goes into the wing or into the corner. It's exactly what he does with Rogalski. Bit too far on it, a little heavy-footed. Ohio State will keep it with their side, now inching closer and closer to the 4-minute mark. You can see the press as well on the defensive side for Xavier. Maybe 2 personnel there just in case, and one of them, Matthew Sinanu, just came away with a header, and the other is Johnny Mennel. It's right towards the top of the arc. The goalkeeper is getting a lot more involved in the past 20. Bit too high of the kick from Waits against Skubis. And the foul call against the Musketeer.
That's the 12th foul on Xavier here in this first quarter, this first half, I should say. 21 combined fouls between the two teams here in this first half. Just again, both teams continuing to really amp up the aggression.
How do you feel about those combined 25 fouls? Now it looks like Ohio State's going to try to go with the through. They'll reset with the throw, but, I mean, it's been an aggressive game. Extremely.
I think it's certainly been a very aggressive game. Again, the 21 combined fouls, it really showing that both these teams, really playing with a chip on their shoulder here, wanting to win this game. It's an in-state matchup. These teams played each other last season. It ended in a 0-0 draw. And I think both teams really want to kind of right that wrong there and pick up a victory. But again, right here at times, because of that, it's gotten a little too chippy at times, and you're going to see a lot of foul calls because of that.
If there's a team who wants to right that wrong, it's John Higgins of the Musketeers, and he talked about this team is one of the most talented and one of the most fun I've had being the coach, whether it's at Indy or now at Xavier. It's just whether it's the 11 freshmen or some of the other guys he has involved with it. They've faced adversity, defeating number 2 Marshall at home in 2-0, but then turning around a couple days later and losing to Duquesne 1-0, and then tying with Bradley at 2-2 at their own home pitch. And we asked him, we said, hey, this is your first road test of the season. How do you feel? And he said, between you and I, guys, we're excited. You got to ask the question. Of course, yeah, you're excited. But, Coach, what about it makes you excited? And he goes, we think we are playing better soccer on the road. And I saw your face specifically. You had a little twitch in your eye. I went, how is that even possible? So you followed up. How? He said, there's something about the energy of playing at Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. It's open, the fans show up, it's loud, and it's the different environment you don't see at Xavier because, of course, in the greater Cincinnati area, it's more combined. So playing with that open field is what they really like to see, and that's what the Buckeyes are trying to do in the final minute 30.
And Xavier's definitely playing in an environment where they thrive their best, and really trying to show it here. Ohio State has been up to the challenge and really matching their energy so far.
Adetikin with a fake cross to Samways. Up in the middle and so close. Borkovich, you could see it looked like a surefire goal, but a bit too far up with the power right leg in the final minute.
And if you're Marco Borkovich, you really wish you had a do-over right here. Samways is wide open and a great pass right there, right in front of the goal. Borkovich just a little too much mustard on that one going over the net. Again, like I said, if you're Marco Borkovich, you really wish you had that one back. Really wish you had a do-over there. Xavier catching a huge break with under 30 seconds now.
And you can see that the time being taken from Johnny Metal. He's going to try to bomb this one as far as he possibly can. Man, that looked like an 80-yard punt at this rate. I mean, that was pretty impressive. But now with these final 10 seconds to go, you see the combined shots for each 12 Ohio State with the 1 goal in the final 5. Let's see if there's any shot here in the dark. There won't be. So Ohio State will go into the half up 1-0 after the 32nd minute goal from Michael Adedukin. You have some of the older returning guys, Johnny Menel, Ernest Mensah, Ishmael Mensah, the new guy, of course, getting involved and really helping out, but Fabrizio Bernal de la Garza. I could go on and on with this roster, but there's just something about having the fresh blood and just loving the roster and team that you have that you're currently with. It helps you feel confident, especially in a game like this where you're down 1 and getting back into it in the thick of things.
It really helps out. You know that they're going to be energized and hungry because it's really some of their first collegiate action of their careers. So they're really just excited to get back out there, play against a team like Ohio State in an environment like this, and just continue to just have some fun and go out there and play their very best soccer.
Rogalski, one of the names you're going to come to find out a lot of times, this time right back to McLaughlin. Still, Adedukin did not have a goal in last year's game against Xavier, but then again, nobody did. So really helping out on this side of things. He's got 3 this year, and he had a goal in his last 2 matches, so now call it 3 in a row for the senior out of Irwa, Nigeria. And he's trying to get another one as he's right on the coattails of the Musketeers.
Again, we talked about it there. It's just like what head coach Brian Mazanoff said for Ohio State. Keep that aggression going. Keep your foot on the gas. Still a lot of time left in this game, so a lot can happen. So definitely cannot let up too early.
You can see some tough contact between Adedukin and Michael Rogalski over in the corner. That's something to watch out for Adedukin, is he loves going into this wing and this corner, especially on the near side when the Buckeyes flip. I have vivid memories of watching last year's games and broadcasting last year's games and seeing that exact kind of movement where he goes all the way towards the goal line. He uses that left foot to cross over the middle for one of his teammates, whether it was Samways, whether it was Pacoda or Grinstead. But he's always trying to find the header, find that inkling of his teammates going, you have this much space. And that's because I see it from a bird's eye view, or just finding the open lane and somewhat kind of praying for it with the left foot.
Absolutely there. And again, it's going back to kind of having that chemistry with your team, developing that team chemistry, try to be on the same page. That's huge in games like this.
And you see the whistle called. Jack Bilyeu jumped over the head of Luciano Pacoda. Well, called on the Buckeyes. It gets back with the Musketeers. They try to even it up on the clear through. It's right up at the top for Cellini. Goes inside. This time it's Bilyeu again. Rogalski one-on-one against Adedukin out of the corner. Nice work again. And that mesh zone defense for the Buckeyes still working so far. Even with tough contact in some difficult lanes. Now the Buckeyes moving coast to coast. We're also at a point in a game like this where it is teams who have beaten top 25, or even now in this point, top 5 teams. Xavier, their number 2 win over Marshall a couple weeks ago. You don't have 1 or 2 players doing everything. You don't have that pinky ring full of crystals that you always think about with one player. It's just a mixture of everybody getting involved. So it's like the gauntlet, as much jewelry as you could put on your hand, that's what you want. And that's what both teams have. It's not 1 or 2 players doing everything. It's about 8, 9, and sometimes even 10 of the 11 on the active pitch.
And that's the best thing you want in soccer. You want to have that collective effort, those 4 or 5 just excellent star players rather than 1 or 2 superstars kind of carrying the load here. And again, that's huge for both these teams, and it's really showing, especially in Ohio State's case, riding a 3-game winning streak. That collective effort of stars on this team, both veterans and freshmen, really, really working out for them.
And that was a foul against Andre Roberts, the sophomore midfielder out of Dublin, Ohio, who was an all-10 big freshman team last year. Had a big effort involved. He played in 18 games and had 3 goals and 3 assists for the Buckeyes. This is his first chance at plate time in the 2024 season as well. And coming in a crucial spot where Xavier is trying to answer back. They're going to try with the corner.
Again, a huge opportunity here for Xavier to try to get on the scoreboard. Be a huge moment in this game if they can equalize the Buckeyes here early in the second half.
Roberts playing back towards that far post just in case it goes too far for Waits. Keep it up right into the thick of things, and a great placement as well over the middle for a Jagby. Jagby keeping through and getting it away from Bilyeu. And now the Buckeyes trying to move forward. David Arona, no one near him. One-on-one with the flip up, just right of the post.
Rona right there, 1v1 opportunity against Johnny Mennel. Just flipping it over Mennel's head there, but just a little off to the right. Rona again, I think, wishing he got that one back. Great opportunity there. You're not going to get a much easier shot if you're David Rona, but got to move on and get back out there on defense. But, and if you're Ohio State, you definitely love to continue seeing those kind of shots here at this point in the game.
But you even saw the face of Matthew Sinanu, the defenseman who was right on the coattails and really just trying to track down Arona. You saw him shaking his head that he didn't get a proper read on the ball, and that's what allowed the grad student out of Hoover, Alabama to get in front of him. So something to watch out for. Sinanu, if he's going to be going one-on-one against Rona, don't expect him to find the open lanes like we see here with Bilyeu, and he equalizes in the 40th minute.
What a huge goal there from Jack Bilyeu out of Indianapolis. Big play there. Again, head coach John Higgins wanted this team to continue to be aggressive. Aggression was the word he kept reiterating, and right there, Bilyeu, the man who comes through in the clutch. Still 40 minutes here in this second half, but just a huge goal right there from Bilyeu. Not bad defense from Ohio State, but just better offense from Bilyeu. Huge goal there for the Musketeers, and we got a ball game in Columbus now, Austin.
One-on-one with the cross and answer going up against Velios as he scores his first collegiate goal, the freshman out of Loris Central High School in Indianapolis.
That's got to be a great moment for Jack Bilyeu, getting his first collegiate goal here on the road against a top 25 team in Ohio State. Definitely something he's going to remember for the rest of his life.
And not coming at a better time either. As you realize the situation is, it's only been a couple of short minutes, but you attack with so much time left, it's even you go, all right, who's going to stop us now?
Really, really critical timing for sure. And now Xavier's got to be feeling very, very confident. They have a legitimate shot now at pulling this one off here tonight.
And just the way that he approached the situation one-on-one against Velios, the captain for the Buckeyes, and then cutting through between the wickets and getting it away from McLaughlin into the far corner. And you could see the aggressiveness is still moving forward for the Musketeers. This time it's Waits in the corner. Right in the way of things. It was close to that corner of the 6. And now Rona trying to get back to the offensive side for the Buckeyes. Xavier not allowing it. Trying to move their way with Krupp. A trip up for a Jagby on the foul and a reset for Xavier.
The Jagby there, a little too much physicality there. Now Xavier has a good opportunity to take the lead.
Trying to move their way forward, Eli Dooley. He followed Coach Higgins from U-Indy to the 2020 and 2021 season he spent at the school. And he couldn't talk about him enough at this point. Higgins said, you know, there's so many people involved with this team that help bring the energy up and allow the chemistry to get together. And he said Eli Dooley and Taylor Reinhardt are the two members he can think of the most. And you got to see if they can help here. Adetikin, 1-on-2, crossing all fake. Add another. Setup, we're going to try from far. It gets off of a Buckeye. And the defense close to the 6 just got lucky. Friendly fire for a second for the home teamers. It's a perfect chance, and it looked like a great shot at the left. The Buckeyes will keep answering.
Right there, like you said, some friendly fire. Rona just wrong place at the wrong time. Good shot from Ohio State, but again, Rona there just not in the right spot. A big break there for Xavier, and now Ohio State just looking to reset.
And, I mean, that's going to happen. It just comes with some of the baggage of playing collegiate sports and just playing sports in general. As you try to play as close to the formation and set as you normally do, and sometimes you have to go out of system and do it. That's what we're seeing here with Trickett going one-on-one with a slide against Demian. Demian puts the hand up, they'll reset in the corner. But we've seen now for a while this one-on-one game within the past 9 minutes or so is more than we've seen in the first 45 minutes. It seems it was more zone defense at the beginning for both. And now you're allowing the 1 or 2 players to try to pinpoint their way through the crossing defense.
Yeah, and really has been a lot more up-tempo. It's been a lot of those one-on-one, one-on-2 matchups. As you saw there with that goal from Jack Bilyeu, is one-on-one against Dalen Velios. So a little bit of a change of pace here in this second half. And so far, through the first near 9 minutes, it's been working in Xavier's favor.
Waits in another corner. With the header, this time he gets it up to Bogarine. And the Buckeye defense says no. just staying close and allowing themselves to play that trap defense. Of course, down low. So you somewhat hear that in basketball terms. As you go down low, as you kind of drop the defense back. Very similar here in soccer.
Again, just like we talked about earlier, a lot of parallels between basketball and soccer, kind of the fundamental aspect, and kind of how the plays are set up. It's very similar in that regard.
See Ohio State Velios and a Jagby trying it up. It's Pacoda right over the middle. A big shot out of it for Sinanu. Can see staying up at the top. Moving forward, back to Adedikin. Start with the left with the cross through the shot. It's good. That time Rona's got his goal. 2-1 Buckeyes.
Huge answer for Ohio State. David Rona, the Wake Forest transfer. That time he was in the right place at the right time, making up for being in the way moments ago. Just a beautiful shot and a great response there. Ohio State not panicking after Jack Bilyeu tied the game up at 1 goal. You can see there the team celebrating, just having some fun out here. And that's really what you want to see if you're Brian Mazonoff. You get the go-ahead goal, and the team is just having fun out there. They're just happy to be out there playing some soccer. What a big answer, though, for David Rona and the Buckeyes.
His first goal as a Buckeye, now in his second season with the program, and it went right to him on a silver platter. The fist bump and the little jig afterwards as he puts his team up with still plenty to go.
It was just a quick little shot off the side of his foot right there. Just looked like almost just in fast pace there, kind of like ×2 speed, just in one motion. Took one little quick flick of his foot, and Rona is able to get the goal and give Ohio State the lead right back.
You said he made up for that wrong place, wrong time. That was right place, right time. It went right to that inner part of his foot.
Absolutely right place, right time right there. David Rona, a huge goal. His first goal as a Buckeye could not have come at a better time in this game.
The 35th minute here in this second half. So moving his way in, allowing himself to get into the scoring column for the Buckeyes. Now Xavier trying to make it a 2-2 game again. This time way outside, but right to the gloves of McLaughlin.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Freshman Patrick McLaughlin or the junior and Johnny Mennel. You play similar games or similar builds as well. McLaughlin 6'3", Johnny Mennel 6'5" inside the pipes, which actually I didn't realize he was that tall. That's quite a build.
That is a very nice build for a goalkeeper and can really, really come in handy. And you see there, it's really come in handy tonight for both goalies, obviously.
Rona
4 shots face.
Rona moving it forward for Adedikin. 1-on-4. Now with the left, let's see if he can find the cross. Too far and out.
Right there, though, the poise for Adedikin. And you see there Johnny Mennel second in the Big East with 18 saves this season. Coming into tonight, he's got 4 saves on 14 shots faced tonight. So now adding to his total, 22 saves on the season. McLaughlin also 4 saves, I should say. 4 saves on 10 shots faced tonight. So again, both goalies really just doing their thing tonight, really having excellent games. And obviously with 4 saves apiece.
You got to cut your teeth every now and again in certain games like this. And we've seen with Xavier, they've been in some dog fights, whether it's the 1-0 loss against Duquesne, the 2-0 win over Marshall, or the 2-2 tie against Bradley. And that was just in the last 3 games, as we now see Cooper Forcellini down and holding to make sure he's okay. Is another foul call on Andre Roberts. But in certain games like these, especially when you're going up against a top 25 team, you really do have to cut your teeth any way possible. That's why you see more substitutions than we've seen in quite a long time, as Xavier just has 2 waiting in Taylor Reinhardt and Brandon Osterholt, 2 men who have not gotten playtime today.
And really, if you're John Higgins with a man down now. You want to just get as many fresh legs out there as possible to try and switch it up and try to keep Ohio State's defense on their toes. It's a really interesting approach, but could work very effectively for Xavier.
Guilherme Vivalgini coming out, and same thing with Jack Bilyeu, the freshman who had at the point equalized the game with his goal in the 50th minute or so. Now trying with those fresh legs, getting across the good header. And Samways will clear it outside of the 18. To the yellow card matchup as well. We had talked about the fouls. You see the 5 combined yellow cards, the 1 red card as well for Xavier. And Ernest Mensah Jr. had that in the 58th minute. So it's been quite a bit of time so far that Xavier's been playing a man down.
Still only trailing 1 goal. Still Xavier 1 big play on offense away from getting themselves back into this game. So I think you got to be proud of your team if you're John Higgins. You're keeping your team afloat here. Give themselves an opportunity. They continue to hold their own defensively and get some good shots on the offensive end. They can get themselves right back into it.
Nick Skubis and Tommaso Villa coming in for Andre Roberts and David Arona. So now a little bit of gamesmanship between the Buckeyes and Musketeers. Fresh legs for fresh legs, especially in the attacking positions for each. See a pinball around up at the top. Who's got it? You can see the kick right to the shin from Eli Dooley to Anthony Samways. And that's yet another yellow.
It's going to be the 6th yellow card combined between these two teams tonight. Just more physicality. Right there, just a little scrum for the ball. And then, yeah, you see there the kick kind of in the shin there. Almost looked like it was on the foot. Dooley looked like he was going to try to go for the ball and instead got Samways, and Samways took the worst of it.
Siggy Magnuson, the defenseman, playing back just in case. See Dooley with the yellow in the 66th minute. Just the aggression of the two teams. I feel like we've talked it to death at this point, but when both head coaches use that as their one-word explanation, I mean, you're not really surprised that we're seeing this kind of back-and-forth stalemate in the pitch.
It's these two teams that are so similar. You have these two coaches on each side, John Higgins for Xavier, and Brian Masonoff for Ohio State, that approach the game so similar as well. It's really been showing all night long, just the two similarities for these teams really clashing together, leading to a very competitive, fiery game on both ends of the field here tonight.
Anthony Samways will bring it back in with a throw. Giving it up to Tommaso Villa. A little behind the kick from Thomas Gile. The freshman, actually the redshirt senior, I should say, out of Wuppertal, Germany. The freshman I was looking at was Johnny Rush, the man right above him, who's gotten a little bit of play time so far this season. Just a lot of international players for this Buckeye team as well, and that's something you come to notice, especially in soccer. Real no surprise here, partner. You're going to find way more international players, but especially in some programs like in the U.S. where you can play somewhat professional at age 16 if you live overseas in Europe, Africa, anywhere. So having the opportunity and the privilege to go Division I, I mean, it says a lot for these programs and the players.
Really does, and you're getting guys who might be freshmen, but you know, if they were playing professionally at a younger age, it really gives your team a lot more experience than you might imagine. And that's a huge, huge advantage for soccer coaches in the United States, in the Division I college level. Just a big luxury to have there. It's really what makes soccer stand out in a way.
Osterholt was playing over the middle one-on-one against Villa. He comes away with it. I mean, you talk about the international level of things. Coach John Higgins, of course, he's from the UK, so he knows all about playing that international game. Coming over for his chance to coach after his time of dominance at U-Indy at the Division II level. To be a foul call on one of the Musketeers. Actually, on one of the Buckeyes, I should say. My apologies. But it's back into it at this point where you know the game at an international level, and it's different. And we've talked the parallels of basketball as well. Sometimes you see certain players play internationally, go to a league, just say, like the NBA, And because at age 16 they were playing in Spain, they're used to that aggressiveness. They're used to the pressure. They're used to the strength. They're used to the dominance that you see from some of your opponents. And it's not as hard of a turnaround.
And they're not fazed by the tougher competition either, because you get that exposure overseas at a younger age, and it really gives your team an advantage if you have those kind of players, and especially if the talent is there. That just makes it all the more better.
Reinhardt and Forcellini, the two men trying to play through against the Buckeyes. Now in the final 19:30 to go. Here in the second half, Ohio State up 2-1. Go down and stay in the corner.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Borkovich. You can see not overloading the box right now. A lot of pushing and shoving inside the cage. The goalkeeper and Mennel playing further back towards the far post just in case there's a lot of curve on it. Way far past and right off the head of Sinanu. Goes up towards the top of the shoulder check, but it's still clean. Who does it stay with? Goes to Xavier. Just one of these points now here, partner. Final 14. The aggression has reached that point. It's the tea kettle is whistling right now. As you have everyone, there's a little bit of angst, a little bit of frustration. There's more pushing and shoving. I mean, you're seeing the arm-grabbing matches and the contact with the shoulders as they move forward, but you talked about the importance of the RPI and how close all these games are and what a make-or-break match this is for Xavier.
And right there, Dakotu taking a bit of a shot there, taking a bit of a lick on the ground. Again, just going back to that physicality and that aggressiveness. Again, the stove is just boiling hot right now for both teams in terms of the aggressiveness in the final 13 minutes.
Sinanu, the defenseman, is playing more of the ball through him. As much as he's a defender, he's also facilitating the offense, which just shows how well he is on both sides of the ball. Slide tackle and a lot of contact between Osterholt and Velios. And now Ohio State trying to move forward. It's Borkovich. Goes with the shot. It's good. Most important part of the game. The energy's up, and the Buckeyes bring it 3-1 lead.
Big goal there from Borkovich, sliding in celebration with the rest of his team. That's just a huge goal there and a great pass right there to the open Borkovich. One-on-one, another one-on-one opportunity. The only man there to stop Borkovich was Johnny Mennel. And right there, Borkovich able to take advantage, get a great shot there. A beautiful goal. And Ohio State a little bit more comfortable now with a 2-goal lead, a huge difference there. You see the replay again. Mennel coming out to try to stop Borkovich. And Borkovich just getting a great shot at the goal there.
Big slide to go along with it.
Slide on both knees, doing it in style. What a shot there from Marco Borkovich from England. His second goal on the season, and a critical one at that, giving the Buckeyes a 2-goal margin now.
His first goal came in the blowout 4-0 win against SIUE on the 29th of August. So now just a little bit over a week or so, getting back in, solidifying his spot as one of the best midfielders on the team. And the winger class for the Buckeyes, when you're headed by the junior out of Maidenhead, England, it can only get better as it goes on.
And Borkovich is a very, very solid midfielder for Ohio State, and showing you why right there. Just a huge goal and a huge moment in this game. Ohio State was able to get another goal on the board here. That's a big difference. Leading 3-1 is a huge difference as opposed to leading just 2-1. So huge goal there for Ohio State.
And we've now seen that difference of having the extra man for OSU. Is you can't have a man be the trailer of your Xavier. You can't leave him there on the defensive side just to go, okay, I'm going to somewhat track hawk the guy who has the ball and show up out of nowhere and just poke it out of the way. If you start doing that, you're not only down one man, but you're almost down two at that point. It's like a middle linebacker in American football where you have to watch the quarterback and you somewhat leave your guy alone and you sit and you wait. If you do that, there could be positives and negatives. The negatives, somebody's open and there's movement. The negatives don't really add up when you look at the positives of, okay, I'm just going to stand my man. You have to really think before you act, and Xavier can't do that right now being down a man.
Yeah, going back to that in football as a kind of a middle linebacker, you really mostly have to kind of keep an eye on kind of your area of the field, especially the quarterback, what he's going to do. So same kind of thing here with the Musketeers, especially being down one man, only having 10 guys out there. It's putting them at a huge disadvantage, and right there, the disadvantage for Xavier catching up to them on that Marco Borkovich goal. The Buckeyes with a little bit of breathing room now because of it.
You can't have a spy, is what you're thinking at this point. It's zone the best you possibly can. You drop back with your center backs and hope that they can help protect the corners of the 18. And if they can't, your last line of defense is Johnny Mennel, which we saw he went up to about the 15 mark trying to mark Borkovich, who just let it rip with his right foot. Buckeyes up a 2-goal lead with 11 to go. And trying another one this time with Scubis. Bryce gets in the way. That's Nolan Bryce, the freshman defenseman from Questwood, Kentucky. His first licks in the 24 campaign.
Bryce and Scubis both sliding down for that ball at the same time and holding on to, looks like his right ankle there. Bryce having to be helped up, kind of took the worst of that fall there, gets back up on his feet.
I mean, we knew there was going to be a lot of switching, a lot of situations, and Coach Higgins even said there's going to be a lot of freshmen on the pitch itself in the final 10 minutes. And, partner, we're just 45 seconds short of that. So we could see some freshmen in the point of you're still trying to get as close as you can to equalize this game or even get ahead, but get those legs in, start to feel comfortable, and that's what Adedukin's doing. Inside the 18 with the cross. Oh, nice move. Too strong.
Wow. What a move there by Adedukin. Just crossing up Jabari Dakota there. A little bit of an ankle breaker.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
In the 9-10 mark or so.
When we talked with John Higgins, he talked about the youth movement coming in late in the game, and we're seeing that here. Just Xavier trying to get re-energized. When you have as many freshmen on the roster as Xavier does, you got to try and use it here, especially in a game like this. You're down one man, down 2 goals with 8 minutes left on the road against the number 21 team in the country. Got to just do whatever you can to try and give yourself a chance to win.
Velios over the middle. It slows down with the trickle. Behind the back, it'll go out for the Musketeers in the 83rd minute.
Seeing Adedukin there, right there by the goalie box. Almost tried to get it into the goal with his back foot. Again, Adedukin's still just showing 110% here in this game. It's just been so impressive to see how he's played throughout this entire game. And it started with that unbelievable goal in the first half. Just pretty much kept that same mentality the entire game.
Back in the 32nd minute, you talk about that goal for Adedukin. And it always seems that he's the man on the ball, the senior winger, who's since transferring out of Dayton just before the beginning of last season. So now in his second year with the Buckeyes. He's been playing in the state before, so he's definitely known about the buzz that surrounds Buckeye soccer. But now getting involved and really being a key piece of the offense and defense, I mean, that has to feel real good in your final year of eligibility.
Yeah, and he's really showing it all out tonight. Just has been phenomenal here. Also set up that David Rona goal to give Ohio State the lead right back earlier in this half. So it's just been a big difference maker for the Buckeyes.
Let's see, Adedukin and Borkovich with break-your-neck kind of moves. You look one way, it's going to go the other. So with the final 6 minutes or so, it's going to be that crowd defense for OSU. You just want to keep it in the corners, see as much as you can. I mean, They're leaving it to go here. Ball, of course, still moving on the flip side of things. You see Adedukin's pointing to the corner saying, hey, the ball's in play. What are we doing? They're going to allow the snap back in with the new one.
Adedukin there, keeping that awareness and that communication. They're showing that leadership, trying to tell his guys, hey, that ball's still in play.
No, it was more of a play the clock situation. It seemed that Xavier was going to have the ball regardless, but if he leaves it in play, there might be a shot that the refereeing crew goes, hey, it's in play, go pick it up, don't ask for a new one. So a smart way to really try to manipulate the clock in your own way. Of course, it didn't happen to go his way in these final 6 minutes, but it's a smart way to think about it. And you don't necessarily have that mindset to do it until you go, all right, we see how aggressive a team is. We realize what the spot is. We're up by 2, 5 minutes to go. Let me see if I can waste 15 seconds here on this spot in.
And that's another thing that's so valuable about being as experienced as Adedukin is. You have that added awareness to the game. You understand the game and you understand the situation you're in. And just trying to communicate that to his team, try to work it to his advantage. It's not something you see every day, but it's, again, Adedukin, a veteran, showing some great leadership.
Ritter Sunby, the freshman, coming in for Ishmael Mensah. Sunby out of Hood River, Oregon, out of YSC Academy, coming in for his 4th game played with the Musketeers. That youth movement still showing to the advantage. $11 different substitutions for Xavier to allow Ishmael Mensah to rest his legs for this one. With how strong he's been playing the past couple of weeks with the beginning of the season. In a game like this, you don't necessarily start to call the dogs off, but you realize how much time you have left and what the situation really is and go, okay, might be time to start getting that flag ready to wave it.
Smart by Coach John Higgins to get his young guys some valuable playing time in a big game, late in the game as well. So, again, just trying to get his freshmen some valuable minutes here. And Xavier right now having a chance there, nearly got it into the attack zone. And Ohio State able to stop him. And if you're Ohio State right now, you pretty much at this point with 3.5 minutes left just have to limit your mistakes. You have the 2-goal lead, leading comfortably. You have a chance to win 4 straight games now. You just got to try and play mistake-free soccer here the rest of the way.
Which, of course, easier said than done. But given the situation, you're now in the 86th minute or so. You don't have too far long to go. So, of course, there's about 3:10. Goes out of bounds. It's going to stay right there. But now, if you're Velios, you're probably going to, maybe stretch 1-2 times, maybe take a yawn, maybe allow those shoulders to go in. Just go, hey, I see what the time is. Maybe I'll take a little second here to find your teammates. And then, of course, you throw it far away like that. But that play alone, it takes up 10 seconds, 11 seconds. It's crucial seconds here that can be used by Xavier. And Taylor Reinhardt and Cooper Forcellini are trying to play on the ball.
It does take up a lot of time, especially in soccer, but it's, again, that just that awareness from it. Another veteran on this Buckeye team in Velios, just kind of say, hey, we got the lead. We're 2.5 minutes away from our 4th straight win. Let's relax a little bit. Let's just try and milk the clock and just play conservative, play it safe, play some keep away now.
And that's exactly what's going on these final 2:15. You can see Patrick McLaughlin just going to hold himself up, maybe readjust those gloves a time or two as the Buckeyes are going to go on to win their 4th one in a row, bearing any incredible feats of gladiator style from the Musketeers. But that's a great way to start off the season. You're 4-0-1. Of course, with Xavier, we talked about the importance of this game. They're now 2-2-2 if this one comes to the ending. We believe it will. And the beginning of conference play, whether it's in the Big East or the Big Ten, a lot rides down in it, especially for Xavier coming off of a season where they won not only the Big East Championship, but made it to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but if you're Xavier, there's still a lot of promise on this team, still a lot of soccer to be played remaining, and there's just potential oozing throughout this Xavier team. So I would not hang my head too low if I'm Xavier. There's a lot to like about this team, a lot to like from this game, but it's one of those learning experiences. It's going to make this team a lot better.
Just out of the reach of Cooper Forcellini. Final 10 minutes playing towards that far touchline. It started the game there, and it's somewhat poetic that it's ending there, but this time it's not going to be a 0-0 clear through like it was last year. It's going to go to the advantage of the Buckeyes.
Ohio State going to have 3 goals in this game, 3 more goals than they did last season against Xavier, so that's another huge difference. The offensive attack for Ohio State looking a lot sharper in this year's matchup with Xavier than it did a year ago, and again, that's all you can really ask for if you're head coach Brian Mazanoff, just showing that growth and that progress as a team from 2023 to 2024. And Ohio State definitely got to be proud with a 4-0-1 record.
You see the final 25 seconds just going back and forth. Nick McHenry, Nick Skubis. The reset here for Bitter Sunby. Final 10 minutes, realizing we're just going to crowd it. See if you can go with the clear and high bomb. Off the wrist of McLaughlin as it inches down to 1. This time the Buckeyes are going to get the victory. You can slice 1998 off the list and add 2024 in a 3-1 victory.
And a huge win for Brian Mazanoff and his team. Ohio State, number 21 in the country, with an excellent start to this season, continuing to keep their foot on the gas, and what an impressive showing from the Buckeyes. Now their 4th win in a row.